The anti-corruption war is one of the hallmarks of the Buhari administration, and according to the president, if we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill us.
Indeed. Well, some progress has been made in the fight against corruption in the last 2 years. Many problems still subsist. Some key members of the Buhari administration have been accused of working at cross purposes with their principle and casting dark shadows on the anti-corruption war.
Now, from the battle the acting chairman of Nigeria's anti-corruption agency, Ibrahim Magu, had to face at the Senate during his screening, that eventually led to some sort of face-off between the legislature and the executive. Now, to embarrassing corruption allegations that have trailed prominent members of President Buhari's cabinet, who ought to be frontliners of the anti-corruption fight. Well,
many say the problems facing the anti-graft war underscores the little gains that have been made so far. Now, how can the many problems challenging the success of Nigeria's anti-corruption war be solved in the country where recovered loot are being re-looted? And we have joining us via phone a lawyer, Justice Uhuegbu. Good morning to you and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Yes, thank you. And also we have joining us the CEO, Diaspora PR, Jermaine Sowolu, is talking to us via Skype from the United Kingdom. Good morning to you, Jermaine.
Good morning to you, Aziza.
All right, let me start with you, Justice. It seems to be quite apt if you look at the stories on the front pages of papers today, since yesterday, that when you fight corruption, as been said by President Buhari, corruption will fight back. Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
So, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the truth is that I've always maintained that you don't fight corruption. Rather, you kill corruption. And it's very simple. If you continue fighting corruption, you can't just fight something or fight somebody and you expect that person to be standing and be looking or waiting for you. The person will definitely fight back. So what do you do to your enemy? Is to kill your enemy. If you have devil as an enemy, is to try and kill devil. So the truth is that I don't believe in fighting corruption, but I believe in killing corruption. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is the nitty-gritty, the ingredients, the source is what you have to kill. Because when we say we're fighting corruption and we're looking at money, people that stole money, people that have absconded with public fund and all that, we're not serious. We're not fighting corruption, as far as I'm concerned. What we should fight is the dishonest conduct, which is defined as corruption. I keep on telling people, and I've said this severally in this country, that corruption is defined as any dishonest conduct. So the question here is this: at what extent have we tried to kill dishonest conduct by public officers, private officers, and all the rest? So we can't keep on talking about money, because when you fight somebody and collect money, but the source is still there, the dishonest conduct, where the thing emanates from, is still there. We are doing nothing. In fact, I keep on telling people, when the former president said that stealing is not corruption, people try to fault him. But I agree with him in total. Stealing is just an arm of corruption, or let me say, a son of corruption. Let me put it that way. So, because stealing is defined by our law, it has its own penalties, it has its own, procedure. You understand that? But corruption itself, simplicity. Have we actually told ourselves the truth that we really want to kill corruption? If we want to kill corruption in the country, we know what to do. So it is a matter of making sure that the dishonest conduct that brings about this process or this issue of stealing here and there, embezzlement here and there, will be killed forever. So as far as I'm concerned, provided we're not ready to do that, we can't fight corruption.
Okay. Well, Justice, a lot of Nigerians had a lot to say that time. It was really arguable whether stealing is corruption or not. But certainly that's not what we have to talk about now. Let me get to Jermaine now, joining us from the UK. Now, Jermaine, when this government was coming on board, one of the three cardinal focuses that time was corruption. And it was, in fact, besides the economy and security, corruption was one of the areas Nigerians were really looking forward to the government handling. But the way we've been hearing things now for the past 2 years, how satisfied are you that this government is really doing everything to tackle corruption?
Well, I believe this administration has really done a lot to try fight corruption, and but many may complain that the efforts are not sufficient. But in reality, it has been one of the most proactive administrations in the fight against corruption. During the good luck eras, the Obasanjo's eras, there was also fight of corruption. They played their own role. But here we see a man who, in the person of President Muhammadu Buhari, who is known to be someone of integrity and who has come out and said, "I'm going to fight corruption head on." But what we see right now is that the perception of many Nigerians is that for you to deal with corruption in the country, as the slogan that the administration came up with, change begins with me, it has to start with the president's administration, those that surround the president. Because all we see right now is that we see him being a man who seems like an angel, and we see some people around him who are having some corrupt practices. Let's not forget that even in heaven we had the Lucifer, and even amongst Jesus's 12 disciples there was one evil person. So this thing happens around the world. But what we must see right now is that we must have accountability when it comes to the fight against corruption. We must see that whatever loot that has been recovered is actually kept and used for a just purpose. Transparency International, in a report that they wrote, actually said so. They said that up to 75% of Nigerians that are going through that were surveyed see that the perception of corruption during the years of 2014, 2015, and even to now was very, very high. So even we as Nigerians, we know that there's a problem with corruption amongst us. But as the justice said, you know, that it's more than just a thing that you can fight or you can kill heads on. It is more like a culture. It is a systemic problem. It is in the public service. It is in the economy. It is also in security. We know what happened even the time of the Dansuki Gate scandal. We see what's happening in the Mina scandal. We see all these things happening. If we don't fight corruption, it will affect one of the tripod areas that the government wants to fight. That's the economy, security, and corruption. If we don't fight corruption, it's going to affect our security forces from doing their own work, and also our economy, because we are actually going to be hampered and hindered to move forward, because most of the loans that are taken out of the country could have been used to build schools, build roads, and develop our infrastructure. So corruption needs to be fought, but there has to be accountability and transparency in the processes that actually see that persecution of those found corrupt. We must put the fear of God in people to ensure that this fight is actually won.
All right, we'll get to you in a bit, Jermaine. Let me come to you now, Justice. Senator Sani Shehu once said that the president uses deodorant when he fights corruption within his kitchen cabinet, but then uses insecticide on others and legislators. Now, putting that in mind, how holistic would you say the anti-corruption drive of this administration has been, with many pointing accusing fingers that it's somehow favoring some and then prosecuting some?
Well, the truth about the matter is that we are all Nigerians, and we're in Nigeria, and we're following every event the way it has been unfolding. It's not even a matter of when it comes to legislators, but I think that statement should change to when it comes to other people or other individuals in the society. The truth is this, like I keep on saying, we are not serious in the issue of the war against corruption. Well, I believe that maybe the president, when he came in or before he came in, maybe he actually had in mind in fighting corruption, but when immediately he became the president, he now found out that he lacked the will. Let me put it that way. I think he lacked the will to fight corruption, because as far as I'm concerned, it's not a one-man business. It's a team thing. So if you want to do something or carry out a particular act, and the people you're working with are not working in accordance with your vision, what do? The Bible said, if the foundation is weak, what can the righteous do? And secondly, I also have to remind you that the Bible also said that the judgment of God will start from the church. So everybody had expected that if actually this government or this administration has the will or the capacity, let me put it that way, to fight corruption, by now, what we have seen in Nigeria, there will not be any accusation against the administration or against the president that is, taking some and leaving some. But let me also put it straight here. And that is why I try to define the meaning of corruption as any dishonest conduct. The truth is this, in this administration today, let's be realistic and holistically about it. Let's look at the cabinet. Has there been some people that are in office that their conduct has been, that we have seen, to have exhibited a dishonest conduct in this administration? And the answer is yes. There are so many of them. So what have you done to them? So that is the essence of fighting corruption. And that's why I say that it's not a matter of taking money or this and that. That is where we have to start. If we start from there, it's a chain reaction. The corruption brings about stealing, corruption brings about looting, corruption brings about embezzlement and all the rest. And what brings about all these things is the first step. The next there is the dishonest conduct of some people or somebody in a public conflict, and that is the corruption itself, simplicity. So if you unravel all those things, these ones will not follow. So as far as I'm concerned, anybody crying today that corruption is not being fought the way it's supposed to be fought, that person is right. We are Nigerians. We are not stones. So we have to tell ourselves the truth for once in this country. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a mere play. In fact, it's just diversionary. I don't see, in fact, I'm not expecting this government to have any excuse not to succeed or not to deliver to Nigerian dividends of democracy, because if you ask any person now, they will tell you they are fighting corruption. Is that the problem we have here? So these are, as far as I'm concerned, this is my take.
All right, Jermaine, let me come to you now. We've seen so many cases sometimes where if there are allegations against anyone, the people from the person's ethnic group or the people from the family or even the state sometimes try to shield him and give reasons why, diversionary reasons why he shouldn't be prosecuted. If the other person didn't was found with the same kind of thing and wasn't prosecuted, why are you doing that? Go and finish that before you come here. Now the issue of family, the issue of ethnicity, the issue of this is from our own enclave and all of that. Nigerians themselves. Do you think that is where the problem really lies before even the government as an institution to handle this issue?
Well, where there is a problem, there's always a solution. And if Nigerians are the problem, we must change ourselves and we must be the solution. We must have a reorientation against the concept of corruption. As I said, it is a cultural change. I can even say it is an innate thing that is inborn in the human nature, whereby we are corruptible and we can commit corrupt acts. You understand? But that's not being an excuse. We must rise against that corrupt tendency and be people of character, people of uprightness, and begin to do what is right. Because once you do what is right, you will get the right results, and Nigeria will start moving once again in the right direction, known as a nation full of integrity. Now, you can also say that nepotism is also corruption, whereby you favor certain people because of their tribe or their ethnic background, and you put them in places of position because, and that can be seen as corruption. Now, when you see people from a certain area beginning to see those people who have stolen the country's money and are using it, and they start supporting those kind of people because they believe you going there, eat part of the national cake and share among all of us. That is the kind of tendency that people have. They believe that if their family member goes into the place of public office, that they too must be enriched. They must get contracts. They must be empowered, quote and unquote, by that person being in office. And that is also kind of nepotism, so to say. So, and we must see that corruption must be fought without ethnic without ethnic lenses or fought with tribal lenses. No, we must fight it head on. We even see the case, even one closer to the case of fighting corruption when it comes to the NIA boss and Babachir Lawal, whereby we see what happened with the EFCC even trying to fight corruption, talking about ethnic background. Also, we saw the man, Mr. Okay, the NIA former boss. He was he summoned to the ENCC office? They were actually going to start investigating immediately. But Babachir Lawal, what happened was that they said they're going to set up a panel. So you can see that it's not just a cultural thing, but it's also an institutional thing. We have to see a situation whereby our institutions are strengthened. Whereby I was really glad to see that the president actually sat with members of the judicial team, in a conference. I think that was just earlier this week or so, and they talked about the need to obey. They pointed to him and said, Mr. President, with all due respect, that you have to obey court orders. And Mr. President, you said that you guys also have to be seen not to find loopholes and give these people easy passage too. So it has to be a collaborative effort whereby the executive, the judiciary, the legislature, and we Nigerians will rise up together patriotically and say we want to save the soul of this nation. We want to save the image of this nation, because as the president said, if we don't fight corruption, if we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill Nigeria, and that corruption is a culture.
Okay, Jermaine, let me quickly go to Justice now. With the MBS report, Justice, that police officers, judges, and even prosecutors are the most corrupt public officers in Nigeria. And of course, with the idea that for corruption to be fought in any country, the judicial system must be very strong. Are you confident, really, that it's going to be serious motion with serious movement?
No, actually, the truth about it is this. Remember, I've always had the view that, as far as I'm concerned, no organ of government is to be left behind in this issue of corruption. They are all guilty of the same thing. Now, not only them, even we as individuals in our various offices and every other thing. The truth there is this. That goes a long way to explain to you. I keep on hammering on this issue of what is corruption. That goes a long way to tell you or further define the word corruption. I say this is dishonest conduct. And that is the truth. Because when you get to an office and people are not doing what they are supposed to do, people are not honest in their conduct, it is purely corruption. And that is what we get everywhere. Go to the executive arm, go to offices, go to judiciary, go to the police. So, and if you go further in that definition, he added bribery. Because it is a dishonest conduct or a dishonest mind that will bring about bribery and other things. And that is what we are saying. So I agree with that in total. And the question now is this: what do we do to corrupt? Because the way we are going, as far as I'm concerned, we are not fighting corruption. We don't even have intention of killing corruption. So now we will understand these things, and that is why we must carry out this sensitization. We must advise the government. We must advise the people in the home of affairs. No, this is how it's supposed to be. But unfortunately, nobody wants to listen. Everybody wants to do it their own way. And you keep on voting money. A committee of anti-corruption war has been set up. This one has been set up. This one, all these things, their money going.
All right.
It also amounts to dishonest conduct. Because
yes.
you give them
Justice,
shooting allowance.
Yeah. Justice, sorry, we have to leave you here right now. We must thank you for talking to us now. Justice who is a lawyer and joining us on phone to talk about this. And Jermaine Sonwo-Olu from the UK, you're the CEO of Diaspora PR. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.